Continuing coverage of the Titan submersible hearings. Today we heard the testimony from a man who went to the bottom of the ocean with OceanGate and resurfaced with red flags. As our colleague Grayson explains, Stockton Rush invited him on the deepest dive he had ever been offered, and he just couldn't pass it up.
Karl Stanley, founder of Roatan DeepSea Exploration, testified today he and OceanGate's co-owner, Stockton Rush, have known each other for over 10 years.
It was with the understanding that one day, somewhere, when the carbon fiber vehicle was done, that I was going to get a ride, which is basically what happened.
Stanley says it was Russia's carbon hole's second dive in the Bahamas.
We could have easily gone a little deeper, and that would have been a better test. But I think that was an indication of his lack of faith in that vessel.
Loud noises, an unusual request. It wasn't long on their trip before Stanley wanted to resurface.
I believe I was the first one to drive, but he basically insisted, it was his idea, nobody asked to drive, had each of us drive. And I think that was his kind of sick way of, if we had imploded, we were a little bit in control of our own destiny.
When they returned to land, Stanley emailed Rush for months saying he believed the sub had an issue. He wrote, quote, "The only question in my mind is will it fail catastrophically or not?"
From a business perspective, the whole thing seemed completely premature.
It wasn't until later Stanley learned the carbon hole he was in had been struck by lightning before the dive.
He knew at that point what the cross-section of the hull looked like. He knew that it had been hit by lightning. He knew that his engineer had quit, that would refuse to go in it.
Years after, Rush perished on the Titan submersible with 4 others voyaging to the Titanic.
How do you tell people their $100 million is gone and your business plan was a terrible idea and isn't working out? And I think that's why he kept diving, and he knew that eventually it was going to end like this, and he wasn't going to be held accountable, but he was going to be the most famous of all his famous relatives.
Working for you, Conley Grayson, News 4.